And welcome back. TGD Today. It is Pro Golf Talk Live, our first show in the new year. And I'm excited to be with Hugh Rory III, PGA Tour player.
Former. Washed up, has been.
Ooh. See, I didn't use all those fancy words.
I did.
How are you, Hugh, baby?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us for another happy year here at TGD Today.
Yes. Been an interesting morning, to say the least.
Yeah. And you got a good afternoon coming. You got some golf coming.
Yeah, might be a little chilly, but yeah, going outside.
A little too cold for the Godfather.
Yeah, I understand.
A little too cold. Blood thinners. We all know what that is.
Well, I'm on those too, so quit whining.
But it ain't cold right now in Johannesburg, South Africa. That's, of course, the BMW SA Open and the city of, pronounce it.
Ekurhuleni.
Thank you. Easy for you to say.
Gothenburg, South Africa, just outside of Johannesburg, Tor Pretoria, Glendower Golf Club. What a great golf course. I mean, this is a golf course nobody in the world's ever heard of, and I'm telling you, you go play this thing, you just go, huh, because it's kikuyu grass in the fairway and the rough, bent grass on the greens, and then you got these willow trees everywhere. So if you miss a fairway, a good luck.
Well, they have had some severe heat in this area, this neck of the woods, and it is just flabbergasting to me to see how good this golf course looks and how the players are just speaking so highly of it. The greens are perfect. The fairways are perfect. What the greenskeeper and his crew has done to get this golf course into shape for this event, hats off to them. And, of course, the event is hosted by Ernie Els and both his foundations. And so they've had great turnouts. Crowds were wonderful this morning, even the first day.
Oh, they always are. I mean, the South Africans love their golf. And, you know, the beauty of being able to keep the golf courses, even though, you know, the heat is up, is the fact the lack of humidity over there. You know, you're at an altitude very similar to, you know, Utah, out Colorado, out that way. You're adding 10% in Johannesburg. And it's nice to see Ernie sponsor this with it at Glendower, because this is the golf course where he came out at 16 years old, turned pro, finished second to Fred Wadsworth, who was my high school teammate. Fred won the South African Open at Glendower, and Ernie finished second, and kind of is what started him on the road, where everybody just went, wow.
Well, this thing's been going on for over 100. This is the 104th or 105th event. So it's been around forever. Glendower is just one of those courses that's being held at.
Yes.
But it seems to flip about every 5 to 7 years. Just depends on.
Oh, it flips every year like it does here.
Yeah.
You know, you heard me talking earlier before we went on the air, and looking down here, and Trevor Dodge is playing, and he shot 78. Well, Trevor's the one that chipped in to beat me down in Cape Town in the South African Open. So, you know, there's just a lot of history.
And your other brother, Trevor Immelman's there.
Yep, Trevor's there. They were down there. I know he and the whole family were down there on vacation. And Trevor didn't play very well either, shooting 3 over.
Yeah, so Jocko Van Zyl, basically this is a young man that, his best finish is in the high 20s in one event last year. He's not exactly a barn burner. He's not exactly a marquee name, but he goes out and shoots 7 under par in the morning rounds. And the wind had died down a little bit this morning, Hugh, and then for the afternoon rounds, it picked back up again. So thusly the scores. You see those players that are in the clubhouse from this morning, they are kind of leading the pack at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 under par. And then those that went out in the afternoon are doing everything they can to just post 2 or 3 under.
And, very well could be why, play was suspended, because it was blowing in thunderstorms. Because when they get thunderstorms out there, trust me, you don't stay outside.
They're like Oklahoma.
It's worse.
Yeah.
It's worse. And, when our friend Retief Goosen has been struck twice in his lifetime, it's bad, because he grew up just in Pretoria down the street. So, it should be fun to watch. And like I said, folks, if you get a chance and if you're up, and you can see it on the Golf Channel when they play it, you'll never see a prettier golf course. And
it's gorgeous.
And you won't even believe it's in the middle of town. That's the thing. You think it's out in the middle of nowhere. And
Yeah, you think it's in a wildlife preserve.
It's in the middle.
actually.
It's in the middle of town. So it's a great track.
Beautiful finishing holes. It's got some little par fours. They're actually tomorrow. They're talking about moving the tee box up on 13 or 14, I think it is, with the creek that cuts across. To where making it almost drivable for the entire field. If not, several of them probably could use 3 woods and reach it. But it's just you got to play your ball, because if you end up in the rough, I noticed this morning, Hugh, that just getting off the fairway a foot or two, you either have a decent lie and you're able to go for whatever you need to hit. But then again, too, I saw Retief get a little left on one of the approach shots, and he was literally 10 yards off the green, had to navigate over a bunker, but he walked up to the green after he looked at his ball. He walked up to the green, and as he come back down to his ball, literally 10 yards, he lost it.
Yeah.
He had to get help to find the ball again so he could play a shot.
And I'm telling you, you can play Kikuyu where it can be cut and your ball sits down just a little bit, and it affects the club head coming through impact. When you get it this thick, the club doesn't go through. The ball doesn't come out very well. And this is why I think you'll see at Glendower, because of the trees, the way the holes, maneuver through them, dog leg and what, a lot of shot placement. A lot of, you heard me say a bunch, and we get tired of it. I do too, but point A to point B. There's not a lot about going from point A to point C. Because if you make that mistake, you're going to pay dearly for it.
Right.
And another thing too, George, just to throw in here something for you that I don't think you know, but do you remember a name from back in the day, Gavin Levinson? Okay. Legs from down in South Africa. He is the golf pro and the teaching pro here at Glendower.
Oh, okay.
And is one of the ones down here with Ernie, help host this thing and is a big part of this. I've been reading about a lot of it. I'm friends with he and John Bland, a bunch of them on Facebook, and very excited about the golf course, like you said, the shape and the field that they got for this tournament.
Ernie today had a kind of an up and down round, Hugh, in the fact that an interesting stat that came up, and I shared with you off the air, but I'll share with our viewers and listeners, is it's been 10 years since Ernie's had a top 10 finish. And it's hard to believe, but it has been that long. And today, on the 18th hole or the 9th hole, it was his 18th, he has a par putt of about 12 inches and routine tap in, and he ended up pushing it dead out of the cup and never even saw a lip. And so he ends up making bogey for his last hole, and that really, really put a sting into him. He's had putting woes over the last couple of years. He's got a new mallet putter in his hand. He looked like he was stroking it pretty good, but you could just tell on the 3 to 5 footers, he just had little to no confidence standing over it.
And George, not making excuses for him. I've like we've talked about several. I know him very well. He's been a very good friend to me, and watching what Nico van Rensburg, all the people down there, what they're doing to help him with the L's for Autism stuff. They've had fundraisers, it seems like every weekend in South Africa.
Something's going on.
No excuse. He should be practicing whatever if that's what he's doing. But, it shows where his priorities are. He's hosting this.
But Ernie's become almost a international ambassador.
He has been. He's the next
He's
Gary
very
Player.
much Gary Player.
He's Gary
exactly.
Player for South Africa. And he's doing it with autism with his son, Ben. And, he and Liesl work their butt off for this, and they're friends. I've seen so many pictures, sent comments saying, congrats, like what I'm seeing. You guys are doing a great job. And to get a personal, message back from him saying, thanks, bud, it means a lot. And it just shows you golf is there, yes. But is it the most important thing in the world? No. And that just says a lot for the young man right there.
Well, you got a lot of players. Some names we recognize, other names we do not. Again, this is the start off of their new season on the European Tour. So you're going to get a lot of those newbies that are in with their card, and this will be their first event. So they're going to get a taste of European Tour life here real quick as they sweep through South Africa over the next several weeks. And then, of course, Then they'll do the transition into the warmer climates, let's say, and then they'll stay there until, of course, our winter here in the U.S. is over with, and then we'll see them in Turkey and all the other spots that we get accustomed to. But, I mean, you're looking at scores at +10, +9, +8, +7. So, you know, the golf course is definitely taking its toll early on many of the players, and this the first event of the European Tour season.
And that's what makes me laugh, George, because, you know, we've talked so much on our different shows about golf equipment, the balls, and how the game's changed and whatnot. You look at these scores from this tournament here and look at them from 15, 20 years ago. They're all pretty much the same. You know, the scores are and it's just about how you can maneuver your way around a golf course, and it's not necessarily about the length as much as it's about how you can maneuver.
Exactly. It's not hitting what used to be long 300-yard drives, now 400-yard drives. It's how you control your ball flight.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and switch over to, of course, the first event of the calendar year for the PGA Tour, and that is, of course, the Hyundai Tournament of Champions coming to us from Kapalua, and, of course, the Plantation course there, one of which we get such a kick out of watching every year for a couple of reasons, one of which it comes to us in prime time, especially here on the East Coast and the West Coast, if you want to talk in that matter, but we're able to catch it in that prime time viewing time on TV in the event that, you know, we're going to be looking for some coverages to be starting at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so it's great to get home from work or whatever and be able to flip it on and be able to watch golf during the, you know, those hours that otherwise we're probably watching something else.
Yeah, and this is more of the kind of the, I don't know, how do you put it, the welcoming party of the year for the tour. They're all out.
Well, there's only 32 players.
Yeah, and they're all out there. Well, actually 31.
Okay, well,
because Jim's not there.
That's right, Jim Furyk. Yeah.
But you know, looking at the fact you see them all out on the boat, looking at the dolphins, they're out snorkeling or drinking. They're having a good time. This is kind of their way to warm up, get to some decent weather, practice while they're there, and if they play well, great. If they don't, who cares? Because guess what? You're getting a check when you walk out of the joint.
Well, you are, but then again, too, there's a couple of them that are looking to make a statement early in the season. And, of course, last year's the defending champion, last year's winner, Patrick Reed, is 9-1 odds right now to be to win this thing again. Interestingly, I was looking at the odds, Hugh, and Jordan Spieth at 5-1, Jason Days at 6-1. They are looking for those two to continue their, their season of last year.
Yeah.
Of course, Jordan Spieth had a record year, and in what he was able to obtain and do during the year, of course, 2 major championships, FedEx Cup champion. It will be a long time to be replicated type of year unless he does it again, personally. But we haven't seen it since maybe Tiger in his earlier days.
And to be honest with you, I don't expect him to. I hope he does. Don't care if he does. The young man has gained the respect that he deserves and has earned. I just think that like we were talking earlier, I think you watch Ricky Fowler this year. I just think that young man is on the verge.
Interestingly, Bud, they've got 6 of the top 10 in the world at this event. It's the strongest field they've had in 20 years.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, a lot of people, they didn't go over there because it was just kind of a waste. They felt like it was a waste of time. And you have a lot of guys that didn't go to Kapalua or go to
Sony at Waialae.
Excuse me, yes, until now. And now they're starting to go there again. So,
well, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we'll see Rory, we'll see Jason, we'll see Jordan, we'll see the likes of course, Patrick Reed, Brooks Koepka, who we talked about earlier in one of our previous shows about the equipment change there. Of course, you'll see Zach Johnson. You'll see Dustin Johnson. You'll see, everybody's talking right now amongst the media people that, this is going to be Dustin's year, that maybe he can put the Ghost and Goblins behind him and pick up that major championship that he has had in his grasp a couple of times and has let go by the wayside. So for whatever reason, and we won't get into that right now.
I
But
think that's where Ross Perot becomes our best president too. But that's just my opinion. But the thing that I want to see a lot of is like you're talking about. I mean, you're looking at Jordan, Fowler, Day. See how they come out. How they play this week. What's good because everybody. I mean,
and keep in mind, folks, this is a 4-day event. It's very weather dependent, and what I mean by weather, not so much rain,
wind,
but wind.
You get wind around this joint, it can get interesting.
Let's just remember 2 years ago, this tournament was postponed for 2 days because of wind. They literally could not play because in positioning your balls, removing your mark on the putting greens, and then the balls would start rolling on their own, and so they had to stop play.
Yeah.
So Kapalua is at the top of the mountain. You're going to get these gusts, and they saw gusts 40, 50, 60 miles an hour.
Oh.
So, and that's just a normal day. So you're going to be weather dependent here in the amount of scoring. This course happens to be the easiest golf course scoring-wise on the PGA Tour. It's there every year.
It's the widest. I mean, it has the widest fairways on the tour.
Well, subsequently, they're able to – when the weather's not bad, they're able to score.
Yeah.
They're able to make some putts and score. Interestingly, be sure to watch the putting and all that because they're going to need to keep an eye on where the volcano is, where that breaks down toward the ocean, where you may think it'll break toward the ocean. On several holes, it actually breaks uphill toward the volcano for whatever reason it does.
Because grain doesn't affect putts, George.
That's right. I'm sorry, I went there. But as we mentioned, 6 of 10 of the top world players here are in this event. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to watching it. Jordan Spieth is playing with Patrick Reed. They are actually the last group to go off today, the first day. Jason Day's with Ricky Fowler. Bubba Watson's with Zach Johnson. That'll be an interesting pair to watch. Of course, Zach just changing club manufacturers and going to PXG, so we'll be keeping an eye on him and see how he's able to play those new clubs. Dustin Johnson's with Danny Lee, J.B. Holmes with Jimmy Walker. And this is one of those years for J.B. I think he needs to go ahead and reassert himself.
And
Would you agree?
Yeah, well, yes.
Ryder Cup, you're talking about major championships, things of that
and
sort.
And he's had a couple of years to get through the health issues, and the stuff with his and
he had such a solid 2015.
Absolutely, and and I think now it's just an improvement. So we'll see how he handles it and how he comes out of the box. That's the only way we can do it.
They got Justin Thomas with Russell Knox. That'll be a good pairing to follow. They got David Lingmerth with Chris Kirk. I'll be interested to watch Chris Kirk. He likewise is with PXG, leaving of course Callaway and going to them. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays. Davis Love III, I'm not quite sure if he's put the new clubs in his bag, but he likewise.
He's been playing them.
He
played them last year.
Parts of them.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been a total bag flop over yet. So we'll see.
He's still playing the Bridgestone ball, I know that.
Right. And he's with Matt Avery. J.J. Henry's with Padraig Harrington. And by the way, Hugh, I caught the Faraday show with Padraig over the holiday. And that was quite enlightening. I didn't know how, I always had this persona, I had this opinion of Padraig Harrington, totally blown out the window after watching him with Faraday. He's a totally different person than what I perceived him to be.
Well, and I never knew Padraig. I knew a lot of different people from the European Tour, never knew him. Remind me of the Jesper Parnevik and the volcanic ash kind of thing, the wild theory, crazy, magical, whatever. That's the way he comes across to me. All these different fads and crazy things.
He's nowhere close to that. He's a degreed accountant. He's actually degreed, finished college, became an accountant before he became a professional golfer.
Well, that explains the whole problem.
Well, maybe
His
so.
brain's fried.
Maybe so. But to hear him talk about how he gets involved, whether he plays for Southern Ireland versus Northern Ireland and his interest of playing the Olympics and his interest of supporting Ireland, his interest of, what he's been through to get on the tour, what he's been through to maintain his card. if you get the opportunity, folks, check out the Faraday broadcast with Podrick Harrington. I think you'll change your impressions, if you have any impressions of him, but I think you'll be enlightened by the entire show. I enjoyed it, and I recommend you do also. Graham McDowell is over there in Hawaii, GMAC, and, of course, we saw GMAC play much better of late. That was a swing and a putting exhibition that he put on over the last month and a half there of the season last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Graham continues with that. And there are several other names that are in here that you may want to keep an eye on, because there's just no telling, especially when it comes to Kapalua. Next week, we'll be talking a lot about the Sony at Wailea. I love Wailea. Been there bunches of times. Of course, got great friends over there. And we'll look forward to talking about that, because that's where we're going to see the likes of those players, such as, our Web.com Tour players that are now moving into the PGA Tour, the big show.
You will have probably a good 10 to 15 of those there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them cut their teeth on the PGA Tour.
Especially on that golf course if the wind blows.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to thank you for joining Hugh Roy III and, of course, George Honeycutt here, the Godfather. We're excited to be back. We're excited. We took a little break, but we're back now stronger than ever, and we're going to be bringing you fully up to date on both these events that we've talked about today at Monday Morning Golf Wrap right here on TGD Today. For Jeff Gilder, HR3, of course, I'm George Honeycutt. We want to thank you for joining us here on thegolfdirector.com, of course, being brought to you by the Zeus Radio Network.
Nice. Thought those went pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Cramp.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm going to tell you right now, if you got the Hogan clubs in here, you'd go nuts over them. I just know what the guys got Jamie trying to do. Because when Jamie can't send me some, there's something up.
Yeah.
Because, he sent me whatever I wanted when I wanted from UST. It wasn't even a question.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want to go down there and talk to him and see what's going on. But
Well,